Alright everybody, good morning. We are about to get into the jug of this Whitey 100, and we've already encountered problems. If you notice here, the whole complete stud has came out, and then I have another one that's doing the same thing. So what's going to end up happening is I'm not going to trust these studs. This is more than likely stripped on there in both cases on two studs. So what I have is I have an 8 by 1.25 by 100 millimeter bolt that goes in there. It's extra hardened. It's a grade 5. So what I think I'm gonna do is just pull all 4 studs and go with 4 of these, put 4 of these bolts back in here. That will that'll make it a little more easy when you're putting the jug on and off. But I've definitely got to pull this jug, get down into those clips and see what we've got in there. This is most definitely going to get ported. As you can see down in there, there's some rough stuff around the edges right there by that piston. So I'm going to port and polish these cylinders, and which I'm probably not going to video. Everybody, I mean, if you want to learn how to port and polish, there's videos on YouTube on that. But I'm going to take and replace these studs. I'll go ahead and crack this this jug, and I'll chime back in. Alright guys, I'm chiming back in here. Got the cylinder all ported out, but the bad news is this piston is all the way at bottom dead center, and that's how much of a floor we got. I really wish that piston would drop all the way to the floor of that exhaust. We did a pretty good job getting everything all cleaned up and deburred and getting all the debris out of there. But yeah, that's bottom dead center on the exhaust side. We want to take our intake and show you. We also beveled it out as well, cleaned it up, make it match the intake side, which is over here. And as you can see, let me get her positioned here. I'm not doing very good juggling a light and a camera with one hand, but see down in the exhaust cylinder, you rotate this cylinder. And as you see, I've skirted the piston. That's top dead center. So we're all the way wide open here in the cylinder. And we've got it ported and angled just right, ramped. See, we're holding wide open, guys. So we'll get some good intake out of there. And that black stuff that's in there is a Sharpie marker. It's not debris, in case you're wondering. Did get the bevel gear greased and lubricated. I'm going to go ahead and throw the intake on this. And, you know, these stock plugs that come with these kits, I usually use them during the break-in period before I stick an NGK in there. You don't want to foul up a good NGK. They've went up, like everything else. They've went up. So I did go ahead and put all the studs. I took the studs out and put my these in there. And the part number for that is 1138629, and that's your M8 by 125 by 100 studs. All I did was, if you see right here, I double washered them and put a lock washer on the stud. That gives you plenty of room. I took and ran my my tap down the holes and just did a thread chase on them, make sure that everything's good. So lubricated them, cleaned all the debris out. I don't know how much power this motor's gonna make with that exhaust not opening all the way up like it should. With these single piece jugs, it's really hard. I mean, I could take and stack a gasket, but I'd have to skirt the piston more, and then you're starting to get into balancing issues with your piston. So I'm just gonna leave it, see how well it does, and if not, we'll figure out what else we're gonna do. But that's how far we've gotten on the YD100. I'm gonna go ahead and finish building this motor out, and then we'll go from there, guys. But yeah, I've opened that baby up so it can breathe. You really want to get your exhaust side open. That's where a lot of your torque comes from, and definitely, if you can, throw a pipe on here. You can use a stock exhaust with a couple mods, but I prefer to use the YZ65 clone. I've got one for this bike or this motor. So, alright, that's the update. Thanks for watching. Alright guys, we're done porting the cylinder and the intake and the exhaust. But I had a question. You see that logo right there that's inside the clutch basket on this side? If anyone knows what that is or what that means, I'd like you to leave a comment down below. But I think that means that this is a genuine YD100 bottom, because I've only seen it on a few. And also on the corresponding side, there's another logo. But I've been through this bottom end, and it is a balanced stuff crank. Bearings are good in it. Got everything put back together. We're ready to receive the carburetor. My frame will be here Monday, so we'll actually do a build on this on Monday. It'll be raining, so I'll probably try to set the tripod up in house and build the bike in my living room, which is very tiny, guys. You all know I live in an RV, so, but it doesn't matter, whatever it takes to get it done. And then we're at full top dead center there. You see how that's been ported really nice.
My back pain was so severe that I couldn't take the pain anymore. I was crying so much. Are you suffering from pain? There's one product that millions of people have trusted to relieve pain for over 17 years. Omega XL. I have lived with tremendous pain in my knees for many years. Getting out of bed was difficult. Any of you at home who really care about your aches and pains and your
We've been through everything on here. Uh-oh. I spilled my tools. Anyway, guys, this will close out this. As you see, I went ahead and put those M8 studs in there. They're M8 by 1.25 by 100. Double stack the washers and put a lock washer on top. You've got plenty of thread, you won't bust through your case, and you can get it down to 12 to 14 foot-pounds, or 8 or 5 or 3 or how many ever you use. I think these are recommended for 12, so I usually generally do it right at between 10 and 12. Depends on how bad the case is fighting me. So I've got a Wix plug in there, a really cold plug, so that way we can maybe dissipate some heat while I'm breaking it in. Overall, it's not a bad a little over $100 investment. We'll just see if this one runs better than the last one. I've been through this one. I didn't really go through the other one. I just polished I didn't port the intake and exhaust on the other one, so we only got 23 mile-an-hour tops out of it after it was broke in. So we'll see what this one gets us when we break it in. But she's looking good. I can't wait. And I've got another little small issue here on my YZ65 or MZ65 clone. If you look here, the holes aren't exactly matching. So I think what I'll do is, for my last bit, is bevel that out a little bit so it can receive that somewhat better, because there's no way. There's going to be turbulence inside that exhaust port. With the piston not going all the way at the bottom dead center, it's not hitting the floor of the exhaust. Plus, that not being large enough, there's going to be turbulence in there. So I believe the exhaust should flow freely. That way, when the back pressure comes back in and it brings back in the exhaust fumes that have the actual gases still in it to reignite, it won't cause it a problem. So that's my next chore. After that, we're ready to assemble the bike. Like I said, it'll be here on Monday, and I'll set the tripod up for that. I'm gonna do a carburetor video, because this carburetor is a Bofang. I'm gonna get set up here in a minute to do that, and then we'll keep rolling film on it, guys. Thanks for your support, and I appreciate you watching the channel. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment below. It does the channel a lot of good, and it allows me to know which kind of content that you guys really like to watch. Remember, we're here for you. You all have a great day. Peace. Alright, guys, what we have here is 3 different variations of carburetors, starting from right to left. This is the carburetor that comes with all of the other YD100 kits. Generally, you can tell that it doesn't have speed on it anywhere. So, I mean, it's an NT mock-off. And then this rivet style push down primer. They're okay carburetors, I just wasn't happy with it. It just didn't seem to give me the power I needed. So that's one. Oh, not to mention, also, in order to get into the bowl, the screws are on top. If you notice right there. And it also has a drain plug to it to drain your bowl out. The screws are on top. Right there. There's no washer in it. Or grommet or O-ring or whatever you want to call them. Anyway, yeah, that one lasted on my last one, YD100 for quite some time. And then this is your actual NT speed carburetor. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it actually says speed on it. These are one of the best. This is the best NT carburetor setup right here. If you're looking for a good carburetor, make sure you get that one. The only trick to this is making sure that this little lock nut here is tightened. Because if it's not tightened enough, what'll happen is the vibration. This is heavier than this. This is heavier than this. So while you're riding, all that vibration will cause it to close on you, and your bike will stall and lose power. And it's caused me to actually wreck by taking my attention off and pushing down the choke lever just to get it all right. Because I thought my bike was like really, I thought my CDI was going out or something really bad. I just lost power all of a sudden. Anyway, these are great carburetors. I'm doing this video here mainly for this one here. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a Bofang carburetor. I hardly know anything about them, but the mapping for that pilot jet on the side of the cast, you can tell, is a little different. Here. There we go. If you see here, you've got this extra line here that comes up. It comes over and down, and it right in through the intake where the inlet is, and it goes down, and then there's a jet, a small jet on the inside of that carburetor right in there. It's a power jet. Now, from what I've heard, these carburetors have a 7mm jet, not a 5. So I've got my 5mm jets, and we are going to test that theory. Not to mention another bright thing. These screws screw in through the bottom of the carburetor. So all you got to do is, while your carburetor's on your bike, you loosen your strap up, rotate it 90 degrees after you've drained your bowl. There's a bowl drain right there. I'm assuming. We'll figure out what that is when we get into the video. Tighten this, loosen this up, turn it 90 degrees, and you have access to both of your screws. And also, with this flat side at the top, you see that flat side right there at the top? That's where your pin goes to hold your float and your needle and your seat. So if you pull this off, nothing's going to fall out of it, unless you do it the other way, backwards, which I wouldn't recommend. So also, this one actually tells you on this shield, choke, not choke. It's not written in a Marinese or none of that. But by far, so far, this is a far superior carburetor. Let's check and see what size jet it takes real quick. And see which size it came with. Now, as all you know, I usually buy the high performance carburetors and stick on here because I like a flat slide a lot better than I do a round slide. See, even just by comparison, the choke butterflies are different. See how different they are? I don't know what positive gain. This one only has one little tiny stop here at the bottom. This one has two. And you know you're engaged in full choke. Plus there's a pilot jet up here at the top that opens up. You also have one right here at the side. That's a circuit for your idle as well while it's choked. Those NTs have one, but their idle circuit is way down here. And if you turn your carburetor, you can see where it goes directly into the bowl right next to the inlet. And that works both with the NT and then the speed carburetor. Alright, let's get this bowl off and see what we're working with. Let me get a better screwdriver. That one's wanting to aggravate me. Alright, hang on guys. Be right back. Oakley dokley. Alright, now that we're better equipped, and these screws come standard with a little lock washer, and I think they're awesome. Hopefully this has the polypropylene gasket in them. Looks like it does. And I really like those because I've never had a leak problem out of those. I had one speed carburetor that had a paper gasket to it that just leaked and leaked and leaked and leaked and leaked, so I changed bowls on it. Oh, look at there. That is beautiful. And yes, this is to drain. You see that? This is definitely to drain your bowl. I like it. Alright. Float's got a little spring in it. Check that out. Can you see that? As long as your float has a little spring in it, but when it's sitting at the top, it's flush with the jet, you're lined up perfect. You don't need to adjust that or nothing. Just make sure you don't lose your your spring or your arm or your needle or your seat or any of that. So we're gonna do some surgery here. Pull off the float. See if we can see what size carburetor this is. Or see what size jet, I mean. Usually they come with a 70 or 75. Me being the guy I am, I'm going to jet them just like all the rest of mine. I'm going to jet them at a 68, between a 68 and a 65. Let's see, what do we have in here? May take me a while to find one, guys. I've got over 100 jets. There's a 58. That's probably too lean. There's a 65 right there. So, we have found a 65. Let's see if we can extract this one without scarring it. Rumors are true, guys. The jet sizes are different. One's a 7, one's a 5. I don't know if you can see that or not. See the ends? One's a 7, one's a 5. So, unfortunately, I'm going to run it and see how it does. I'll just use my adjustment on the needle, and we'll save that 65 because it can go somewhere. But if that don't work out, then I'll stick the NT Speed carburetor on there. I'll stick that one on there. Just for giggles and grins, guys. Or I'll go to my go-to and I'll just order me a carburetor, because those high performance carburetors that are $18, $19 on Amazon, that Jungle website anyway, they're only $20, man, and they are superior I meant to do a video on those, but on those, the bowl the bowl will actually have a raised baffle down in it, right around in here where the jet goes, so when you're turning corners the gas doesn't slosh out. So it's got a little wall in there that's maybe 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters thick, and that keeps your jet from starving when you're going around corners. I really like those carburetors. Plus, it's got a plastic bowl on it that doesn't overheat, and if your carburetor's close to your motor, your gas won't bubble and boil back through the line. These are notorious for that, because once that gas warms up, especially on like summer days and stuff like that, you'll notice it looks like your gas is bubbling or foaming. That's because you need a heat shield between your carburetor and your cylinder. There's a lot of heat being transferred, which I don't know is this bad for your carburetor or for your motor, for your engine, but I can almost say it's pretty not good when you have bubbling gas just about to boil out of your bowl. So that's another thing to think about. I shall put this all back together. But anyways, I'll give her a rip and see. It may be perfect if I just lean out the needle if it's too fat, or I can richen up the needle if it's too lean. But I think these come with a 70 or 75. If it's a 70, I should be fine. I can 4-stroke for a little while, and generally when my engine picks up, it warms up, it stops 4-stroking. It still does it to this day, and I'm running it, you know, as on the top of the lean spectrum. I just get more power out of it that way. I'm running a 68 jet in that high performance carburetor, and it hasn't given me, it blasts right off, and takes it maybe 45 seconds to warm up enough to where I can put the motor under load and take off, and then it goes all day, all day, all day, all day. But yeah, I was hoping that wouldn't be the case, but we'll get on that jungle site right here and see. Oh, I like that. That screen's put together. If you notice, check this out. That's the screen from the old YD100. This is the new screen. I like that. Massive improvements. They keep coming a long way. And did I show you the stamping that's on the bottom end? If anybody knows what that is, bleep bloop down below. Leave me a comment, and because I've been researching it, and a lot of them do not have that. So I'm assuming those are the cheap China doll knockoff 100s. But I bought mine, and it's a genuine YD100. It is a 100 bottom end with the stuff crank, balance crank, stuff crankcase. on the bottom dead center, the piston does not hit the floor of the exhaust port, and it's up by maybe 6 millimeters. So I wish there were a way I could correct that without having to reinvent the wheel. I'm gonna see what kind of power it makes now, but if not, what I'll do is figure something out. I may cut the top of that jug off and make it what I need it to be. We'll see. But anyway, guys, I think that's all I've got today. I'm gonna go ahead and get this video posted. Like I say, my bike is on its way. It's just left Maryland yesterday, last night, this morning, some awful time. But it's due in on Monday morning. And then you guys can either leave a comment if you want to, be there with me when I build the bike. Perfect. We can do that. I'll throw the camera on the tripod and you guys can watch how I do it and maybe pick up a tip or two. Or if not, if you're a beginner, learn a little something. I've learned some shortcuts over the 12, 14 builds I've done so far, and that's just been in the past year. So, I've come a long way. I've still got a long way to go, but I've come a long way. I've got a degree wheel on the way. I'm going to start all my 80s. I'm going to start port timing those and start really getting some aggressive measurements out of it. And the reason why that is because my No Luso is an 80. It's a 40 Super China King or Queen, and that thing is pulling me. I'm almost 300 pounds. Plus, the bike weighs 30 pounds for the motor, 100 for the. So we're looking at right at almost 500 pounds pulling up a really, really, really steep hill. If you guys have watched my videos, you know how steep my hill is. And it just cruises on up. It pulls me up that hill at 22, 23 mile an hour. And there's a little bitty crest where you go up the hill. And it still pulls. So I don't know. I would love to get that kind of torque out of one of these motors. That's why I bought one. But if this doesn't work out, I will immediately figure out a way to go ahead and get a Phantom 85, because that's the jug I want. I really want to check the port timings on it, check the port mapping. It would just be an interesting platform for me to play with, because I've already got a bottom end. I've got the YD100. I've got the bottom end for it. So all I would need is either a a 460 jug, 860, 660, something like that, and then I can build a of course we've got to change the piston and wrist pin, clips, bearings, stuff like that, but that's part of it. Yeah, so got some ideas, guys. Y'all just stay in touch, keep watching, and hope you all have a blessed weekend. Peace.